Kristen Press, rewind. Angelina.
Me.
What? You just been signed.
Presented by Cedar Sinai. Shifty work into the box. And across, it's in! Oh, it's LaRue! It's a dream return!
Welcome to Casual FC, an Angel City preview pod. I'm your host, Angela Morales, with my detail-oriented co-host, Mario Salazar.
You don't even know the half of it. It's going to be a deep dive, folks, but it'll be a good one. I'll try not to bore you, but get ready.
Yep, get ready, because we're going to give you the quick and dirty of the expansion draft. Dun, dun, dun.
I can't promise quick.
All right, so the expansion draft, if you've been paying attention to anything related to Angel City, the NWSL, women's sports, you know that the expansion draft is coming up. So what is the expansion draft? Obviously, it's there to help the league expand. We have 2 new teams that will be joining the NWSL this coming season. The Bay FC, which is a team based in the Bay.
The Bay.
So yeah,
not directly San Francisco for some reason, but just the Bay. They've taken over the entire Bay.
Yeah, it's the Bay because it's encompassing Oakland and Santa Clara and everybody who went to Santa Clara and Cal and all of the soccer schools in Northern California. And the resurrection of the Utah Royals Football Club. So to give a very, very quick and not enough detailed backstory, the Utah Royals were a team that existed early on. They had a fantastic fan base, fantastic players. They were sold because of a whole bunch of
shitty ownership.
Yeah, shitty ownership, really bad things. Everything that we've basically alluded to that's happened with just about every team, both in the NWSL, every women's league across the country and the world, and also at the national level. If it's bad, it's happened in women's sports. But the team was sold, and that is the team that eventually became the Kansas City Current. So I'm super pumped for the Utah fans to get their team back and have a way to they deserve that really, truly.
Yeah,
they very much deserve that.
They were a really passionate fan base, like you were saying, and the fact that due to, it wasn't that the team was crappy, it wasn't that they weren't selling their tickets. I mean, ticket sales is a thing throughout the NWSL anyways, but it really was.
That wasn't a team that was impacted by ticket sales. They had a fan base.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they're getting that team back. Just for them, for having that whole for what, 2 years now? No.
Yes. No.
A little bit
longer. Yeah, a little bit longer. They became the Current in 2020, 2021. So yeah, 2 years, because they were one of the initial expansion teams in 2017, and then they existed until 2020, and then they became the Current.
Yeah. So yeah, 2 new teams this year. Exciting. That means more games at home,
Yay.
More games on TV. But the team's got to get started. They need some seed money and some seed players essentially. So the absolute quick and dirty version of the expansion draft, it's basically picking teams on the playground. You line up all the teams, And then
that's exactly what it
Utah
is.
and Bay get to go, I want you, and I want you.
It's the NWSL version of Red Rover, honestly. Like, that's how cutthroat and scary it is. It's like, oh my God, who from my team
Someone's
is
about to
going to
get
stay and who's going to
clotheslined.
go? Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, we had to ban
All
Red
right.
Rover at camp. Yeah.
Oh, Red Rover has been banned across every place I know. My friends whose kids are in school like, oh my God, yeah, they banned Red Rover. And I'm like, yeah, I know people whose shoulders got dislocated, who got concussions from being flipped over a clothesline. Like, we were reckless.
Yeah.
But we had fun. I played Red Rover on a golf course in high school after like an end of year banquet for a club I was in. And there was like 75 of us. There were so many.
Geez.
It was so much fun. It was wild. Anyway, so expansion draft. So the expansion draft is taking place on Friday, December 15th at 4 p.m. Pacific. Coverage will be on my favorite network.
Everyone's
Please
favorite.
understand that is dripping with sarcasm. CBS Sports Network. So, we'll not be able to watch it per usual.
Yeah.
We'll just
So
be stressed
sad.
out, refreshing Twitter, refreshing like every live feed, everything. It's going to be bonkers, but we'll live. Hopefully we'll live to tell the tale. And then attacking third, their show will also have additional coverage. So during the week of the draft, the expansion draft, I should say, the CBS Sports Golasso Network and Attacking Third's social media channels will have a bunch more additional coverage, a bunch of information. Attacking Third is just great. If you don't already follow or watch or listen, they have all the soccer news.
All the soccer news. They were such a great soccer podcast that they decided to make it a TV show. I mean, granted, it was already a CBS podcast, but still, CBS was like, you guys are doing well enough. Let's make it a show. Hey, and we just started this whole soccer channel. Why don't you guys go there?
Yeah, we made this channel just for you.
Which is great. I think the show's been great. It's CBS Sports Golasso Network is a streaming network if you haven't seen it. So if you have Paramount Plus, it's on there. You'll be able to stream it whenever you want. It's also kind of semi-live because there's still times when shows start. So it's a great thing. Lots of content on there, soccer from around the world, and they're doing a really good job with covering the women's game too, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the expansion draft and the regular draft? I mean, you probably hear it back and forth all the time. So like we were saying earlier, expansion draft only happens when there's new teams being introduced and basically they need to be seeded. So it's literally the playground, I pick you and I pick you type situation to get their teams started. The actual NWSL draft is something that happens annually. It's the way where a lot of just the way you would, if you've ever known what the NFL draft or the MLB draft or anything like that, any other sport that has a draft where a lot of college students will come in after their college career or depending on the league, really amazing high school students that are coming out of high school and graduating.
International players.
Yeah. It's the way for them to get into the league and then into a big pool, and teams can pick and draft from there. And, a lot of times they're not 100% binding contracts. A lot of times it's just ways of them to get them onto a contract, onto kind of like a probationary thing, let them try it out during the off season. And if they work out, then they work out and they, get a contract extended and signed. And sometimes, they get dropped. So, but that draft will be happening. It was announced a few weeks ago. It's going to be happening in January of next year. And that will be here in Anaheim.
And it's free. It is free and it is open to the public. I have already requested time off work. Like, I'm going. So in case anybody I'll be there.
And just going to be our live reporter from the NWSL draft, giving us the hot news.
Honestly, I've already talked to Jackie who runs women kickballs, and I was like, see you there. And she was like, heck yeah. My friends who are Wave season ticket holders are gonna come up and we're gonna have like a sports weekend. Because it's so close to Long Beach and I went to Long Beach State, we're gonna go watch women's basketball the next day and men's volleyball the next night because they both have home games. So it's just a big sports weekend and I am pumped.
That's awesome. So as soon as we find out any information on, because you're right, the past drafts have been open to the public in some capacity. So yeah. And if you don't get a chance to visit Anaheim, or you can't make it all the way down there, or you don't end up scoring tickets, whatever may happen, I do believe it's being broadcast on the Ion Network as part of the whole new NWSL mega TV contract that they got with, like, you know, everyone who decided to make a television station. So we'll be covering a lot. We'll be covering all the ins and outs about all of that stuff, just so that we know where to catch Angel City, on what network, on which day, eventually. But just to let you know, January is the regular draft, and that one's going to be mainly collegiate players, some international players that may not already have deals or like avenues with teams.
Absolutely. So with the expansion draft, the last time there was one was when Angel City and San Diego Wave joined the league. And
we're not the newbies
cool
anymore.
Yeah, we're no longer the little league, the babies of the league. The interesting thing is this is when we picked up, because we had the first pick in the expansion draft in 2022. Our first pick was Danny Weatherholt, which I just love that because she's co-captain. She's a solid part of the midfield for like veteran status and just like skill level. She's just solid. We picked up Claire Emsley, Jasmine Spencer, and Paige Nielsen. No big deal. Just like the majority of our offense and defense came from the expansion draft. It's fine. The interesting part too is that San Diego had one extra pick and they passed 2 of their picks. So we had 4, they had 5, and they passed on 2 of theirs. They're like, no, we don't know who we're going to pick, or we're not going to pick someone this round. So what really happened was it went Angel City, San Diego, Angel City, San Diego, and then Angel City, San Diego.
That's so weird to me that in the expansion draft, it's just the expansion teams, right? So for us, it was, because it was 2 at a time right now, it was us in San Diego. But the fact that you can pass, like even in the regular draft, you can pass, yet that pick, that
like
slot,
why have that pick?
Yeah, why have
it?
You can trade that pick. So why didn't you just get money for that pick?
Yeah, trade it for allocation money, safety, something. So basically from now, so I should say this, I'm going to give our disclaimer. We are recording this on Monday, November 27th. We'll go through what's happened so far, but there will be a whole bunch of wheeling and dealing over the next couple weeks, I think. I think everybody was like, let's take a breather for the holiday. And then now it's going to get into the nitty gritty. But like, I swear to you, it's Monday. By the time this releases on Wednesday, none of this will make sense. Like the rules will still stand, but like nothing will be the same.
Yeah, nothing. So yeah, let's just get the timeline down just to kind of understand where everything's going to be coming from. Starting November 20th, which was 7 days ago, free agents are available to sign with anybody they want to. And that's something that came out of the CBA, what is it called?
Yeah, the CBA that the NWSL Players Association put together has.
But what does CBA stand for?
Collective bargaining
There
agreement.
We go. Okay.
But this CBA has allowed free agency to occur in the NWSL for the first time in a decade.
Yes, and
So
there's
last season was like the first dabbling of it, but this season there's like half the league is free agents, I swear.
yeah, it kind of feels like it is. There's actually a really long list on the NWSL website of free agents, and they're keeping track of who's a free agent on their current team and where they signed for the following year. Now,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a big list. So that was starting 7 days ago, and there's been a couple of free agent signings, mainly with, I think it was Utah ended up signing a couple of the free agents, and it makes sense because they're not the ones at risk of losing anybody, and free agents are free to, they're out of contract, so they can. Even if their contract is still being held all the way through technically December of this year, most contracts are like this full annual calendar. They're still available to sign a contract for the following year, right? And they can accept whatever they want. Now, there are some restrictions. There are some free agents called restricted free agents. They're the ones that have been in the league about 3 years or less. No, 3 years or more. Sorry, rewind. They're the ones that have been in the league for at least 3 years, yet their initial team gets essentially first right of refusal, or like, if they get an offer,
like first dibs.
Yeah, if they get an offer from a different team, the current team gets a week to match the offer or make it better, and then they can make the signing there. Anybody over 5 years is considered, and their contract is expiring, is considered a free agent, and they are freely available to sign with whomever they want once, their contract is over. So there's a lot of players on that list, as we were saying. But the weird thing is about all of this whole expansion draft stuff is that in the actual expansion draft, free agents are not eligible. You're not allowed to pick free agents because essentially they have no contract. So
there's nothing to
the expansion draft, you're picking someone, but you're also inheriting their contract. And if free agents are free agents, you're not inheriting anything because they have no contract. So they're off the list, which when it comes down to strategy, we'll talk about it in a little bit, can be a huge thing for us. So
absolutely. And I think Angel City is leaning hard, hard on free agency not being allowed in the expansion draft.
Exactly. Okay, so that was starting November 20th. December 12th is when at 9 a.m. all transactions need to stop. No more trades, no more signing of players, no nothing. No wheeling and dealing anymore. By 2 p.m., and this is all Eastern time, by 2 p.m., teams need to submit their protected list to the league. Each team is allowed to protect 9 players that are basically off limits from the 2 expansion teams. And then by 8 p.m. that day, the list will be distributed to all teams, and most likely Meg Linehan will have it by like 3 o'clock that afternoon.
Yeah, all of these times are Eastern time. In Meg Linehan standard time, it's like at least 2 hours, maybe days earlier. We don't know.
Yes.
She has her own soccer reporting time zone. I hope she hears that I've said this because it is so absolutely true.
And so that happened on the 12th, and then the 15th is the actual expansion draft. And then the following day on the 16th is when that whole transaction moratorium where no one can be traded and no one can sign any new players ends. And then that's when you should expect all of the teams who have their own free agents to start signing people. And they might already have contracts drawn and just being like stamped the wet ink on on the 16th, but they can't do it till
I think that's really what it is.
Yeah. So we're going to go through a bunch of information. If you get lost, just go back. Believe me, I've gotten myself lost a handful of times. So it's not the easiest thing to get around, and I'm just trying to get it to a point where we can all understand it. So the expansion draft works. Super kind of bare bones. Let's go down the rules and procedures. it's already been decided. Don't ask me how. There was a thing. I don't really understand why, but Bay FC will receive the first pick in the expansion draft, and then Utah will receive their first. They will get to go first during the regular draft. Okay. The way it's going to go is 12 rounds. Each team can select up to 12 players. So like Bay will go first, then Utah, and that's end of round 1. And then beginning of round 2, Utah will go first, and then Bay. And then Bay, Utah, Utah, Bay, and so on and so forth till they go through all 12 rounds. Each team can only lose 2 players, right? There's 12 rounds, there's 12 teams. Each team can only lose 2 players, and each team can only lose 1 player to that team. So no double dipping, you know?
Yep.
Bay and Utah can't double dip. They can't go to the same team twice. They got to be strategic on who they pick, if they pick anyone. Like I mentioned before, teams are permitted to protect 9 players. Everyone else on the roster that has a current contract is up for grabs. That's going to be the hard part. That's like trying to whittle down. You know, I really hope that people's feelings don't get hurt about all of this. Like, this is just like...
They've already gotten hurt.
Oh, yeah. No, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. They have gotten hurt. There's a player who got traded already, and she did not even know what was coming. She did not expect it, and she got traded. And she thought, like, the team was, like, gung-ho about her.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so yes.
Big feelings.
So each team is only allowed to protect 9 players. After the first player is selected from their team, they're actually able to add 1 more player onto their list for a total of 10 protected players, right?
Mm-hmm. It's bonkers. Like, it's so complicated, but it's also not in that sense where it's like, here's your 9 protected players, but that doesn't mean that you don't have 25 other protected players because they fall into different
different categories. So the other categories are, like I said, restricted or unrestricted. Doesn't matter. As long as they're free agents and their contracts are ending in 2023, they are not eligible because, like I said, next year they have no contract. So, or no valid contract. So there's no point in signing them through the expansion. Anyone who's under 18, which we now have a couple
Giselle Thompson.
Anybody under 18 is not allowed to be selected. You know, mainly like they still got high school to finish. They can't be leaving to a different team.
They can't be moving around. So that's players on, I think, the Spirit or North Carolina, San Diego, and one other team. I don't remember. But also, like, fingers crossed our girl Giselle is on that list. Alyssa's little sister, for those of you who don't know.
Okay, so there's a discovery list. Don't ask me. We'll find someone who can explain discovery rights and allocation money and all of that stuff later on. Because even
we're still
those things we don't know.
We're still deep diving on that and trying to figure out what the heck it all means.
But apparently, individuals on the discovery list of any team are not eligible to be selected. I know that's one of the controversies when it comes to like just the American soccer model, like an MLS. If you're a player that has an MLS team around you, and I'm going to assume this is the same for the NWSL, that team has what's called discovery rights over you. So like if the team on the, like, say you're a West Coast player on the team in the East Coast wants to sign you, they technically have to go through the local team to say, hey, we want to sign this player that lives in your area. And then they get the right to be like, no, we want to sign them. Why do you want them? And then it kind of hinders players' ability to actually make contracts and sign, which tends to get them pushed out to like Mexico, to like the Liga MX or the European leagues or anything like that, right? Because then they don't have to worry about all this MLS BS.
Right.
So I'm guessing
It's
it's something
wild.
like that. So players are allowed to have, if they're negotiating their contracts really well, they can have a no trade clause. But if they have a no trade clause, they're automatically on the list. Like that's one of you're bound by putting them onto the list unless both parties are okay with waiving the no trade clause.
Then,
Uh-huh.
I thought the no trade clause meant that they are excluded from that protected list. Oh, crap. That's dang. Okay, so my understanding prior to this exact moment was that when there's a no trade clause in someone's contract, it meant that they weren't on that protected list because why? Like why would you put them on that? Like that doesn't make sense. That should just be like a free agency. They don't count kind of thing.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go back. Nope. Players with no trade clause are required to be protected by their current club.
Dang it.
So
Okay, so I have to rework the ones I'm picking.
So, okay, we're going to... Ange and I have chosen our 9+1 list that we have not shown each other yet. So far, we have not shown each other. So she's got new information she might have to rework.
I have like half of my list was based on the fact that I had one belief set of what a no trade clause meant. Now I have to change everything. Oh my God.
Okay, I'll keep going while you're changing. All right. And then the last couple of things are when the teams do their disclosures of like who they're protecting, they also have to disclose in good faith any injuries, any potential retirements, any loans that may occur during the next year for any reason. So if they were working on a possible loan for a player that could be, middle of the season, beginning of like the next European season or whatever, and it's something they were actively working on, they have to disclose that because, the teams don't want to, they don't want to screw over a player that's possibly getting a loan to like, the European leagues or something like that. But also they don't want to be the ones responsible for dealing with that loan if they don't want to, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to take on a player who's about to leave. So there's that. All that information is going to be shared with the expansion teams for that December 12th deadline. And then each team is allowed to call timeouts, which is the weird part. Soccer doesn't really have timeouts, but they're allowed to call timeouts.
The one time they do.
The one time they're allowed to. I think everybody's going to be like, wait, what? What is that? They're allowed 2 5-minute timeouts. They can't call them in succession. But then the league, being the league and being, Miss Bossy Pants, can call any number of timeouts for any length of time. So, it can get a little crazy, a little squirrely. You might not know what's going on, and it's probably because there's a timeout.
And there's so many like random vague little rules in this that may or may not even happen, but we just want to make sure you're prepared.
And
that's all.
I am sorry if anyone that was listening has completely just glazed over and has tuned us out. I apologize. But like Ange said, we just want to give you the info, give you the lowdown, do with that information what you will.
Absolutely. So based on all of those like dates and rules and all the things, there have been some trades and everything so far, and we wanted to give you a little bit of information about each of those. So with this said, this is what's happened as of 10 p.m. Monday, November 27th. For Bay FC, they acquired their first player, Alex Loera, from Kansas City for $175,000 of allocation money and protection. So Kansas City got some cash, and they aren't going to be, or like in the draft, they can't be selected by Bay FC. They can still be chosen by Utah, but they have protection from.
At least that means they only can
FC.
lose one additional player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Alex was the first player signed in like, or for the Bay. Ooh, rewind. Alex was the first player signed by Bay FC. That's like their signature player. And this was highly controversial because apparently she said in interviews and Instagram posts and all kinds of stuff that like the week before, Kansas City's like, we're so happy to have you. We want to have you here forever, blah, blah, blah. You had such a great season. And they're like, deuces.
Yeah.
Have fun in San Francisco. And she was like, you know what? Fine. Like, okay, here we go. But all the best to her. I hope Bay FC knows the gift they're getting and acts like it.
But I mean,
yeah,
they have. Part of me is like, damn, that sucks. Because like, yeah, she was saying that like the week before they were all up 100% behind her.
Contract negotiations.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, peace, right? But if you were Kansas City and you had a player and they're like 175K, in the NWSL, that is a lot of money.
That's like millions of dollars for any of the men's leagues.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, you're like, but even in the men's leagues, when they do the trades and stuff like that, it's still like a big asking price might be like in the hundreds of thousands, or in the six figures, in the millions. Yes. So like 175, that's a lot of money. You're kind of like, they got a new stadium,
Oh, that's true. They got to pay for that.
But it sucks for her. But I really hope, like you said, Bay FC really appreciates their first signing and really treats her well, and as the first signing,
Yeah,
it's your marquee
absolutely.
player right now.
Mm-hmm. And then the next team that has protection is the Orlando Pride. They traded their first round draft pick for $50,000 of allocation money, which is a choice. But hey, you do what you got to do. Yeah. Racing Louisville also has protection from Bay FC for $235,000 worth of alternative allocation money.
And who the hell knows?
Basically, they just bought more allocation money. It's a whole complicated thing. We might talk about it. Nobody ever really knows. We'll see. But so Kansas City, Orlando, and Racing Louisville all have protection from Bay FC. For Utah, Orlando traded one of their players, Michaela Clough, for $90,000 of allocation money, the 26th pick in the draft, and protection. So Utah's first player was a player, I believe she played at BYU. Like, she's from Utah, so it was like very much a coming home for her. And I think it was a lot of like, cool, this works perfectly. But yeah, that's a wildly huge amount to sign for in a trade like that. San Diego also has protection from Utah. Utah signed Kaylee Reel for $60,000 in allocation and protection. And then North Carolina also has protection from Utah. They acquired $30,000 in allocation money and protection for two midfielders, Emily Gray and Frankie Tagliaferri. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what happens in a couple weeks.
You got those names down.
As of
I'm always just like, oh my God, I'm going to screw this name up so bad.
You're like, there's a lot of letters that don't make sense in my brain when they're next to each other. I have a weird knack for names and languages, and I don't know why, but I do. But it is what it is.
It's because you read.
It's okay. Yeah, a little bit. I read so much. Anyway, so as of right now, as of Monday the 27th at 10 p.m., the only team that is fully protected from the expansion draft is the Orlando Pride. That's it.
That's it. I mean, last year...
Expect that to change.
Yeah, expect that to change. Because, I mean, last year, right as we were getting up to it, it seemed like all of these things started going rapid fire. And there was like half the league was off limits, essentially. Or half the league did some type of trade. And so, in the end, it was a very almost lackluster type of event. Because, like, we still got some awesome players. But a lot of it was because it was done beforehand, you know, or like there was some deal that happened, or, you know, so the
like
actual
last
pool,
minute things.
Yeah, the actual pool kind of dwindled a lot. Okay, so just to double check, went on Instagram, checked the NWSL, nothing. So our information is current as of today. All right, now let's get into the scary part.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, very much.
Like organ music right now.
The Dies Irae just
Where's
playing.
Dieter Rule?
Dun, 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 dun. Yes, okay. So, like we said, teams are allowed to protect 9 players plus 1 after one person has been selected. That's going to be hard because at the moment we have 19 players at the moment that we have contracts for. When we go down later on about the full breakdown of where the roster is for next year, we can talk about how long we have their contracts for. Right now, the only important thing is they're on our team. They can be taken away. We have Scarlett Camberas, Vanessa Gil, who is on loan, but has because of a recent press release from ACFC, is scheduled to come back once her season is over in France.
Like once the loan expires.
Yeah, she's coming.
She is reportedly
coming back. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah.
Same.
Didi Heritage, Katie Johnson, Kristen Press, Angelina Anderson, Amadine Henry, Sydney LaRue, Paige Nielsen, Allie Riley, Jasmine Spencer, Alyssa Thompson, M.A. Vignola, and for some reason, I don't mean this disrespectfully at all, but Merritt Mathias. And the only reason I'm saying for some reason is because she would have been in the unsigned free agent protected list, and we signed her for some reason, so now she's in danger. So I don't know what was going on there. Maybe she got an offer that we needed to sign her. Like
you're in danger, girl.
So, oh man. Okay. And then, so those are all the players that we have signed. The players that we still have rights for till the end of the year.
Listen, it's 10 p.m. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. This is not my fault.
The players that we still have rights for till the end of the year, we have Megan Reed, Clarice Lebion, Claire Ensley, Lily Nabet, and June Endo. So technically, all 19 of those players, only 9 of them can be protected. The rest of them can be selected by Bay FC or Utah, because we haven't done any deals. Why haven't we done any deals? I have no clue, but we haven't done any. The free agents that we have currently that are safe, so we don't have to put them on any type of protected list. So they're safe for now, but again, they are available to completely sign with whoever they want. So that's the only danger. But like we said, they wouldn't sign for anybody because then they would have to be protected by that team. We have Simone Charlie, Sarah Gordon, Elizabeth Eddy, Savannah McCaskill, Brittany Eisenhower, Danny Weatherhurt, not
Danielle. I deleted it. Did you see me backspacing it?
Thank you.
I just changed it. Because I was like, I'm not going to make fun of you again. Not for the same thing.
I'm just going to leave that in. Okay, Danny Weatherholt. and Madison Hammond. Those are all the free agents. Brittany and Madison are the two restricted ones. So if an offer comes in for them, Angel City gets first right to be like, no, we want you, and give them more money. So we'll see what happens. Now, drum roll. We're going to give our lists of our 9 protected players plus 1 at the end. No particular order. So don't read into why we picked someone first and why we picked someone last. It's just they're part of the list. We're going to go one by one, taking turns. And I will let Angela go first.
Oh, dang. Okay. So, like, in no particular order. This is literally just the same order it was copy and pasted from the website. This is just, we're probably doing this in the exact same order. So my first one is Scarlett Camberos.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, yes, I have her as my first one. Or she's on my list.
My second is Angelina Anderson.
Yes.
The future of goalkeeping.
Yeah. So you pretty much did what I did, was like we copy pasted the list that we had and we just kind of like deleted people in the middle. So yes, Angelina Anderson, future of goalkeeping. She's my number 2 right now.
Yep. Sid LaRue.
Yep. I have Sid LaRue on there as number 3.
Paige.
Yep. Paige.
Allie Riley, obviously.
Of course.
There's no doubt in my mind that some of these players, like I will tell you exactly which players I think have no trade clauses. Allie Riley is one of them. Sid is another one. Like, Sid doesn't want to move her kids again.
Yeah.
Allie Riley is finally home. Like, I talked to her dad at her book signing, and he goes, it's so nice to finally be in the same place with her again and not halfway across the world. So, yeah, homegirl's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
She has Alyssa Thompson on this team, who is on my list as well.
I don't think she has a no trade clause.
They call each other cousins.
I don't think she has a no trade clause.
Oh, I'm sure she has a no trade clause. With her family, I could probably make a phone call and find out, actually. I know some people who know some people. Anyway, my next one is Alyssa on your list, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yes. Alyssa was after Allie. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but jumping back, Jasmine Spencer.
No.
Is on mine.
Nope.
No?
I didn't.
Ooh.
I did not do Jazz. No, sorry. I went MA next.
Oh, MA is next on mine.
Okay.
And then Clarice.
I got Clarice, yes.
And June.
Yes, I got June.
Who's your other person?
Claire Emsley is my 10th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Claire was one of my initials, and then I was like, you know what? I don't know. I don't want to lose her, but I feel like Clarice is more versatile. Midfield or forward. Like, she's an attacking mid but Claire is so good. So a little bit of
a lot of this for me is just kind of real, because I mean, as we've established many times on the pod, you have a way better tactical and like player understanding than I do. That's why I'm the casual. So to me, I know that Jasmine is an amazing player. I just, in my head, when I'm thinking back to what I can remember of the season, Claire is in my head more than Jazz. And I know that
That's fair.
I know that she's important. But because I'm just thinking like, okay, who's actually coming up in my head that I would be like, okay, I recognize name recognition and who I'm going to keep. These are my 10. So Claire was on my list.
That's fair. So to give a little big picture of why I think this is going to happen this way. So I think Angel City is going to list Dee Dee, Kristen Press, and Merritt, and Simone Charlie, but she doesn't really count, as like not ready by the January deadline. Like, they're injured because Dee Dee was injured at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Merritt, like, they extended her contract, but do we know if she's healthy enough to play like in a month?
Well, okay, so that is true, because the one little weird thing I found was and it's not having to do with the expansion draft per se, but it was more about how roster rules work, and players that have been designated season-ending injuries are no longer affecting your salary cap or your roster cap. So technically, Press is still on the team, and we're most likely, I mean, it'd be there's no way they're not paying her. They're paying her, but that money is not affecting the salary cap that the league imposes on teams. So just in case you're not familiar with it, each team has a maximum they can spend on players. There's this whole game of checkers, dominoes, chess, whatever you want to call it. Pick your game of shuffling things around, where you use your funny money, monopoly money to say, well, this person's not this level, they're at this level. But yes, you overall have a max amount of money that you can spend, and Kristen is not on that list. So good thinking. She's probably still going to be on the season-ending injury list, which would prevent her from being traded.
And Merritt she wasn't listed as an SEI, but I think it's considered one.
Well, I mean,
given that,
they'll have to disclose the fact that she's still working on her injury or whatever, and then as Bay FC, are you going to be like, Angel City's already Rehab FC, so does Bay want to become Rehab FC also?
Exactly. And I think that's the thing too, is they're going to look for players who are young and healthy, who can stay with that team. Because the other thing is that, so of the 19 players, Vanessa Gilles, they're not going to want to handle her contract and the loan and all of that. Same with Mandy. So Amandine Henry is going on loan until I think mid-March is the date that she's supposed to come back.
It's supposed to be to kind of keep her in shape, and then she's gonna essentially just come back for the beginning of the season.
Exactly. And the thing is too, is we're coming into an Olympic year. So Scarlett, Vanessa Gilles, Angie might get a call up.
June,
Mandy,
Clarice,
Alyssa, Claire, all of these people, teams are going to be who am I going to lose for the Olympics and not be training with the team. So that's a huge factor in that as well. I think that Keijo is going to get overlooked a little bit, which is good for us because she's a veteran. She's, God forbid, in her 30s. Oh, so she's got one foot in the grave, but she's also native to LA. She has played on the Mexican team. She's very much from here.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be whatever, which is fine for me. Fine for me altogether. Megan Reed, I have a feeling she might volunteer as tribute if she wants to move back home. She is from the Bay. I don't know how long she's been away, if she wants to go back to the Bay, if she wants to be around family. But I think if there is someone who has to be the sacrificial lamb of Angel City, it might be Megan, unless we trade her for
protection
from Bay FC. Partially because, like I said, she's from the Bay, but we have so many defenders. And if Merritt's coming back, because I'll tell you, Merritt came here from North Carolina partially because of the gay of it all and things that were happening in North Carolina with players on the team, the fan base, the front office. She was like, bye, no thank you. So I doubt she would also go to Utah. So I think Merritt's fine. No, nobody's gonna, that's not gonna happen. Clarice, I hope nobody takes her. I love her so much. Like I said, I am an 8th Scottish and I hold on to that. So please nobody take Claire away from us. Plus she's funny and she makes a lot of Shrek jokes, which is always top notch. I was also really upset that I couldn't save Lily Nabet because I love Lily.
This is hard.
But the same thing, like, it's really hard. And I don't think that, like, she's a little bit of a veteran. I think she would be a real, real good catch for either one of these teams. But I hope that they don't think that.
Yeah.
You know, like, she's really, really stepped up this season for Angel City and, like, really showed out in a way that I don't think anybody was really prepared for it once Becky took over. So fingers crossed they don't see the gem that she is. But come, what is it, December 16th at midnight, everybody getting signed. Like, everybody on our free agency. Like, Sarah Gordon's going to have a fat contract.
First one right there is going to be, she's going to be first in line.
Yeah. Her, Savannah, and Danny Weatherholt, like, boom, boom, boom. Simone, we better resign.
Yeah.
Because she's just great. And I want a full season of Simone Charlie.
Yeah. Although, I mean, part of me is like, again, Rehab FC. But Simone's
Listen,
an
Achilles tear is
it's no joke. It's no
issue.
joke. Yeah. But from seeing her Instagram posts and things like that, she is like on the right track. So we can definitely see her back. But, like, you know, maybe we leave her on the season-ending injury list for
exactly.
a little bit
she
longer.
Should definitely be left on the SCI list and not ready by January 1st or whatever the arbitrary date they decided was.
It's
100% leave her on that list.
Yeah. Oh God, this is so hard. It's gonna be so depressing if there's okay. So our ultimate hope here for everybody listening is that Angel City does some wheeling and dealing and gets protection from both teams. If they just have to give up whatever they have to give up, you know, let's give up. Or if someone wants to move, like you were saying, Megan Reed being from the Bay, if, like, you know, if that is something that she wants and we're like, okay, we can give this to you because it'll be mutually beneficial, you know, like, we won't lose someone and you want to go, we'll get some money out of it. Figure that shit out now. You've only got like a week and a half left or something like that. So
I could also see the team optioning not to protect June because of the ability of her to possibly, like, go on a loan somewhere. I could see that happening.
No,
I don't want to see that happening, but I'm just saying I see that as an option.
Maddie would be so devastated.
I know. I think like 80% of Angel City fans would be heartbroken.
Jeez.
But she's that good, and it's an Olympic year, so. But I also think she knows that she has become a much better player by playing in the NWSL and with Angel City. So I'm hoping that June's on the list.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have no magic crystal ball as much as we want it, so we'll be finding everything out as along with everybody else. We'll be reposting any information that's, you know, pertinent to Angel City as it comes along. But, you know, cross your fingers, hope for the best.
Absolutely. And then we'll probably make some graphics and whatnot to, like, day of, like, who's still available, what's the sitch.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely.
Thank you for listening. You know the whole spiel we're going to give you. If you liked it, you know, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, which is now no longer Google Podcasts. I think it's YouTube Music now. Google Podcasts is being dissolved and it's being absorbed by YouTube because they're launching like a full-on
Google YouTube Podcast Music.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
We're on YouTube either way, so go ahead and find us there if you want. Lots more places. Go check out casualfc.com. All the pod links are going to be there for whatever system you feel like following us on. Just do it. Just hit subscribe. You'll get more cool content.
Just do it. And don't forget, on shop.casualfc.com, you can check out our merch. We are drafting new ideas.
Yeah, there's
frequent
ideas. It's a lot of throw it on the wall and see what sticks, mainly in our brains of like, that's funny. And then by tomorrow, it's not. But, you know, the good one, that
Yeah.
means that the good ones make it through. So keep your eye on shop.casualfc.com for all of that. Also, keep your eye on our socials at casualfcpod for Instagram, Twitter, X, Threads, TikTok. We try to post on all of those somewhat consistently. So for sure, Instagram, just because it's the easiest one to do.
Yeah, definitely.
TikTok takes so
Make
much
sure
work.
to. It really does. Everything takes so much energy to post. It's wild. This is also me being like, I remember my early days of social media when I could use a platform that could send like you could click a button and it would send a blast to every channel. But now everybody has to have their own stupid API rules and ruin social media management for everyone.
What was the thing on The Office? Oh, woof. You can woof it.
Yeah, exactly.
When Ryan invents woof, and then it like sends you a text message, a phone call, a fax, an email.
Exactly. There's got to be a better way. We had it and then it was taken away is the real issue.
Yeah.
That's the elder millennial in me like yelling at the sky. Jeez. Anyway, tell your friends about the podcast. It brings us, you, and the team good luck. So you should do it.
We need all the luck we can right now with this draft. So
yeah, with this draft, we got to
tell as many people as you can.
Fill up charge the batteries, fill the tanks. We gotta get this team protected. Burn some sage. Like, I don't know. Do good things. And as always, if you feel so inclined to support this crazy, wild adventure we're on, and you want to support the pod, you can buy us a coffee. You can check out the link in all of our bios on every social network, or go to buymeacoffee.com/casualfcpod.
And that is our version of the 2024 NWSL Expansion Draft. There's a lot of crazy information that came out through this. Hopefully some of this you found interesting, or, you know, just laughed along with us as we try to stumble through it. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.